This is 1480 KPHX Phoenix.
Right now, via satellite phone, mountaineer Adrian Ballinger, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great. Now, Dave, we want to let everyone know.
It's a little delay because it's satellite all the way from another country.
Yes. Tell us, this is super exciting as well. Adrian, where are you calling from right now?
So I'm actually calling from Nepal right now. I'm attempting to climb a mountain called Makalu, which is the 5th tallest mountain in the world. It's about 10 miles as the crow flies from Everest. So we're actually sitting at 22,000 feet right now in a tent. It's about 11 p.m., so it's pretty cold. I'm in my sleeping bag, and we're looking out at the stars, and I can actually see the peak of Everest right in front of me.
Wow, how tall is the mountain you're climbing?
The mountain I'm climbing, like I said, it's the 5th tallest, so it's almost 28,000 feet tall.
Wow.
And we're on our summit push right now. So we've been here about a month acclimatizing and getting the mountain ready. And now we're on our final 5-day push, trying to stand on top on the 22nd of the month. So we're in it right now.
And it's almost 100 degrees here in Phoenix right now. What's the weather like there?
I could use a little of that right now. It's probably in the single digits.
Wow.
Fahrenheit, 7 or 8 degrees, something like that. It's pretty cold. I'm wearing about 4 layers of down and fleece clothing inside my negative 40-degree sleeping bag. Now
the mountain you're climbing, you said about 28,000 feet. When I saw the movie last night, I think they said Everest was a little bit above 28,000 feet. Is that right, or is there a bigger?
That's right. So Everest is 29,035 feet.
So a little bit taller.
Higher still.
Not that much taller,
That's right.
Wow.
No, not that much taller, but that last 1,000 feet does make a big difference. Everest is certainly the biggest, and that last 1,000 feet presents a lot of challenges.
And once again, I know you gave us your elevation, but our friends on Meerkat are asking, what's your present elevation again?
So right now I'm at 22,000 feet.
22,000 feet. Wow.
That is amazing. Now, and you said single digits. Now, do you bring oxygen with you, like those tanks?
That's a great question. So we're a team of 4 climbers, and myself and my climbing partner, Jim, we are using supplemental oxygen because we're trying to become the first people to ever ski from the summit of this peak.
Ski?
So we're using oxygen, but we're also trying to ski the mountain. And then our 2 partners, Hillary and Emily, are attempting to climb the mountain without supplemental oxygen.
Wow. Now,
so sort of 2 projects wrapped up into one.
That is incredible. So when you get to the top, how far are you going to ski? You can't ski the whole way down, can you?
That's our goal. We want to ski all the way from 28,000 feet back to our base camp at about 18,000 feet. So we're hoping to get a 10,000 vertical foot ski.
And how long would that take, you think, to ski it?
If we could breathe, it would be quick. But with the lack of oxygen and having to jump turn in really difficult snow conditions, it'll probably take, most of an afternoon to actually ski the peak.
Wow. And what are some of the obstacles you might encounter as you ski? I suspect maybe rocks or ice why don't you describe that?
Exactly. So the challenge is, this is one of the few high peaks that hasn't been skied yet, and the things that make it, the reasons for that are lots of ice cliffs, rock cliffs, really steep exposed terrain, and so you need a lot of luck to get the snow in the right conditions so you can actually hold your edge and safely navigate those obstacles. And we think we've picked the right season. I actually tried once before in 2012 to ski this mountain and was unsuccessful. And now I'm back again, and the season's been really good so far. We've actually had quite a bit of fresh snow, and while that can lead to avalanches, so we've had to be really careful about the stability of the snow, it also covers a lot of those obstacles, and we think we have a great weather window here, so we're excited.
Now, as you ski, do you have a rope behind you that, in case something happens, or is it just free skiing without any safety net?
It's free skiing, but we will have ropes with us. So if there's certain obstacles we need to navigate, we can take those ropes out of our backpacks and do a rappel, or find some way to get down that cliff or whatever it is, and then continue skiing.
Now, I want to remind our listeners, if anyone's just now joining us, we are speaking live right now with mountaineer Adrian Ballinger from I guess Base Camp 2 at Makalu. And 22,000 feet elevation. It is all in honor of the new movie Everest. We're going to hear some questions about Everest and stuff, but I believe Eric has a question right now.
Yeah, I have a question about your skis. Are they just like normal skis, or do you have like some kind of specialty skis for that?
So we're using lightweight carbon fiber backcountry touring skis, and so my entire setup only weighs about 8 pounds. And they're very stiff and a little bit shorter than what you might ski on the resort. We're not looking for high speed up here. We're looking for skis that can handle this sort of technical type of skiing.
That makes sense. Now, Adrian, you climbed Mount Everest before, right?
I've summited Mount Everest 6 times before.
Six times. And one of those times was twice in a certain period?
That's right. So in both 2010 and 2011, I summited twice in a single season.
Wow.
So I went up once with the climbing Sherpa, fixing the rope to the summit, and then came back down, rested, and then summited again with my clients. So I'm as well as being a professional climber and skier, I'm also a mountain guide. So the reason I go back to Everest every year is to guide clients to a summit.
Now, let me ask you this. Whether it was Everest or another similar type challenging mountain, what is talk about the closest call to something like really dangerous that you've ever encountered?
There's certainly lots of instances that can occur on Everest where things go from being relatively benign to really serious quite quickly. Certainly in my experiences on Mount Everest, on the south side of the mountain, the Khumbu Icefall, this really dangerous section of the mountain from base camp to Camp 1, where there's a lot of falling ice and avalanches, and the glacier that you're walking on moves up to 6 feet per day.
Wow.
So there's a lot of constant motion. That section is certainly where I've had my most dangerous experiences on Mount Everest. So actually not up in the death zone closest to the summit, but down close to the base camp, where I've been in a position with clients where we've all had to unclip from the safety line and run as an avalanche comes down above us.
How far do you run, though? I mean, can you outrun an avalanche?
You certainly cannot outrun an avalanche. I mean, 2014 was an excellent example of that, where 19 Sherpa were killed in one avalanche in the icefall.
Ooh.
I was always lucky that when we had these avalanches, we were able to get behind seracs or blocks of ice. We were able to protect us from the debris.
Gotcha.
So that's because they were relatively small avalanches.
Now, I'm getting texts from listeners and stuff, and one asked, why do most people, yourself as well as other people, climb Mount Everest? What's some of the reasons they do that? What's the why?
And why is it worth the risk as well?
Yeah.
Sure. No, it's a great question. It's one my mom asks me every time I go on another trip. Really what I find is in the big mountains, there's this combination of physical challenge, the obvious difficulty of climbing at these high altitudes. There's this mental challenge of trying to make smart decisions to manage and minimize risk when you don't necessarily have all the information you need about the storms, the weather, the snow conditions, your clients, things like that. And then there's this really powerful emotional piece where you're dealing with fear and uncertainty. And I think in our lives, a lot of times it's hard to find these experiences that combine all those things and make for one really big, challenging project. And I've learned so much about myself and the people I climb with through these experiences, and they continue to learn. So I founded a guide company in 2004 called Alpenglow Expeditions, and that's who I'm working with now on this current project, and who I guide Everest season with.
And that's is it alpenglowexpeditions.com? Is that the website, I think?
That's correct.
Okay.
AlpenglowExpeditions.com.
Excellent. Eric.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you arm yourself with a lot of GoPro equipment?
We do. On a project like this, it's we're self-documenting this climb and ski because it's actually really hard to find high-altitude cameramen or women who would be capable of climbing and skiing at these levels. And so we use a variety of different cameras, including Sony A7s, RX100s, and a whole lot of GoPros.
So one of our listeners is asking, what technology do you use? So you would say the GoPro. Anything else that you use to make sure that that works at that elevation as well?
Yeah, actually the battery technology gets pretty complicated figuring out ways to be able to power things. On summit day, we expect the temperature to be somewhere in the range of negative 25 degrees, and we'll be out for something like 14 to 18 hours on our summit bid in those temperatures. So that battery technology is quite challenging. And then we also bring a lot of satellite equipment. So, I'm talking to you obviously on the satellite phone, but also for an expedition like this, we bring satellite internet so that we can continue posting Instagrams and using Periscope and updating our Twitter feeds and things like that throughout the climb. A big part as professional athletes is trying to find ways to share our experiences up here with a larger audience.
So you're on Periscope because we're on Meerkat at Breakthrough Entertainment. We haven't experimented too much with Periscope yet, but where can people find you on Periscope?
So on Periscope, I'm at Alpenglow EXP for Alpenglow Expeditions. And then on all the other common social media feeds, you can find me at Adrian Ballinger.
They have cell service there?
No cell service whatsoever. So again, we're using a satellite Wi-Fi system. So you can create a hotspot here as we go up the mountain at each of our camps, and we all log on with our iPhones and things like that. It's pretty amazing. Technology has changed really fast in that way, where we can stay in touch in a much more immediate form and tell the story as we go.
Now, as a guide, you probably have certain criteria, I suspect, or maybe I should ask, what criteria do you have to accept someone to go on the mountain because of the danger, because I suspect they have to have a lot of mountain climbing experience, they probably have to be in good health, maybe there's an age requirement. Can you go over some of those things?
Yeah, and really, I think this is one of the very interesting parts about Everest, and one of the misunderstandings or one of the challenges of the mountain now that really hasn't changed since 1996. Which is the time the sort of event that the movie Everest tells the story of. There's always a desire of people to come to Everest, perhaps when they're not quite ready. And my company, when we founded it in 2004, we decided we really were going to give people a road to Everest, and we really don't make exceptions. And so it takes most climbers 3 to 5 years to gain the experience they need to go with our team to Everest. And they have to progressively climb bigger mountains. So starting, let's say, in places like Ecuador and Mexico on 20,000-foot volcanoes, and then continuing to Denali, the tallest peak in the United States, and then to Aconcagua down in South America, the tallest peak in South America. And then they have to climb another 8,000-meter peak, so another 26,000-foot peak before they're invited onto an Everest team with Alpenglow. And in this way, when someone finally gets to the mountain, they have a real depth of experience. And so if and when something serious happens on the mountain, an accident or a storm or something unexpected, each member of the team has experience to fall back on. Even though they're being guided, they're still competent team members. And so that's sort of how we function as a company. But from 96 onwards, the business reality has been that a lot of companies out there will accept people with much less experience than that. And still, year after year after year, we see accidents when people who truly aren't ready for Everest get up high, can't take care of themselves, and they don't have the resources surrounding them to save their lives. And it's a really sad part of the business and reality on the mountain.
Which makes your company integrity. I mean, I like what you said. It really looks out for the highest safety, and I honor that in you, Adrian. And so what I understand you're saying is that you invite people, so people get on some type of list, and you tell them the requirements. And do you usually have a long list? Or are there a lot of people wanting to climb Everest in the world?
We're a really small company, and so our teams on Everest tend to be something like 6 to 8 climbers with guides and Sherpa. And so we're still a small enough team that everyone gets to know each other. Everyone can sit around a dining table together, and it really does feel like a team. But I would say, on average, we probably receive 10 phone calls a month of people asking to go to Everest.
Nice.
The vast majority don't yet have the experience they need. But that's really what our company is based on, right, is saying, okay, so here's your dream, this very lofty thing of climbing Everest. Now let's start here. Let's go do a 3-day climb in Wyoming to begin the process and see if you like it, and hopefully to get along again on a path to climbing Everest.
Right. Now, Adrian, I'm sure that you probably haven't seen the movie yet, Everest, because it just came out and you're busy doing the real thing. Do you think you'll see it sometime eventually?
Absolutely. I'm actually really excited to see it. I love Hollywood movies, and really the Into Thin Air tragedy that happened in '96 was a big part of my dream. At that point, I was in college. I was a climber. I had no idea I'd ever make it all the way to Everest, but Into Thin Air did inspire me, sort of the human drama that occurred on the side of that mountain, and that Krakauer captured in his book, and that the Everest movie captured. That I found it fascinating, and it certainly inspired me. So I'm excited to see the film.
Absolutely, it is great. Again, we gave it 3 thumbs up here, and before we go, just a couple more quick things. We're trying to avoid any spoilers for the film, and of course the real life tragedy.
Sure.
But have you met anyone from that '96 expedition? Guy Cotter, who was also, I think, a consultant on the film.
Yeah, so Guy's a friend of mine. We're both in the same business, and so we often run into each other on the mountain, guiding groups on Everest and other peaks around the world. And then Neil Vitalman, who you might remember from the movie, is a good friend of mine, and we've climbed a number of peaks around the world together, including here in Nepal. So wow. I've been lucky enough to have some pretty interesting insight into the whole '96 experience, and also their experience of making the film.
And Adrian, in the film, and this is not I don't think a spoiler, but one of the key qualities of all the guides, it seemed the teamwork, even among other guides, there was a lot of teamwork in times of emergencies or urgencies or whatever. People pulled together, almost like the attitude and mentality of a firefighter running, like 9/11, running, into where they need. Is that the type of qualities? Did it accurately depict that? Are those the qualities of guides?
That's absolutely still very much true today, and I think it's very much a part of guiding. And you mentioned someone like Guy Cotter, the owner of Adventure Consultants, and we're very much in competition as businesses. But once we end up on the mountain, we work so strongly together, all of the major teams and all of the guides and Sherpa of the different teams, and especially when there's rescue situations. 1996, and the fact that there was a rescue and an emergency, that's not unique on Everest. Every single season, I've worked 8 seasons on Everest now, and every single season there's one or more major rescues where multiple teams who theoretically are in competition with each other, they come together to try to save lives. And it's an essential part of high-altitude mountaineering, and it's a part I cherish.
Well, Adrian, so much appreciate you. You're just awesome, and We could go on for days.
I know, because
talking
I'm
to
thinking
you.
about the monks and the the memorial
So
and
much
everything.
to talk about.
I mean, this is amazing.
Well, if you ever climb Squaw Peak in Phoenix, Arizona, which is not that tall,
Takes
I
you
might
about
be-
20 minutes.
Yeah, we would love to have you in studio. This is fascinating. The listeners love this, and
Excellent.
you have a business of integrity. Let's give the contact information out again.
Yeah, it's on Periscope and I imagine Twitter, Alpenglow EXP, right? Alpenglow EXP.
That's right.
And the website is
That's right.
alpenglowexpeditions.com, and you have a personal website as well, right?
That's right, and the personal website is adrianballinger.com, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today. And a lot of this stuff, it does seem so intimidating and out there when you think about Everest, but more than 50% of what we do are beginner climbs, just getting people out for the first time and experiencing these incredible experiences.
And we're so grateful as well, Adrian Ballinger, that you're speaking with us via satellite phone. Not only that, but right now it's like 10:25 here in Phoenix. What time is it by you in Nepal?
11 at night.
It's 11:15 p.m. right now here in Nepal.
And cold,
yeah,
too.
it's a late night. We'll be climbing in about 5 hours.
Oh, no.
Heading from 22,000 feet to 25,000 feet.
Holy moly.
Well, we got to get you to get some rest before you embark
Yeah.
on that, because we cannot wait to see this exciting footage of you skiing down Makalu. Wow, I just cannot wait to see this.
And we wish you all the best. We know it's going to be successful.
Well, thanks so much. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing the Everest movie as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
Have a great weekend.
You just got to love talking with people that go beyond unthinkable situations. I mean,
know.
his mental state, his physical state. I'm sure he has a spiritual, great spiritual
Yeah.
state. The integrity he has with the business, a firefighter mentality to do whatever it takes to save someone. These are exceptional human beings.
I know, and every time we do one of these real-life interviews in connection with these releases, I mean, whether it was, our paleontologist friend or
Right.
an entomologist or, all these, I mean,
They
next
all
week we
have
got
passion.
something really exciting, but they have passion for what they do,
No doubt.
and we learn so much
It's
from these
amazing.
people.
Oh.
So fascinating, and like you said, we could have went on and on. We could have done 3 hours with this guy, and I still would have had questions, and the movie's only 2 hours.
And I have 3 to 5 years to really get in shape here to climb Squaw Peak. No, I would love to not climb it really because I think it's hard, but
Squaw Peak or Everest?
no, to go to at least the base camp, and participate, right?
Yes.
Because my age might deter me a little bit, right?
Well,
I didn't ask him, but I wonder who the oldest guy is that climb it. I mean,
It's true. Well, you know what? That's only part of it, though.
Yeah.
Because you could be old, but you're really in shape, and because you're doing this your entire life and
I'm
all that
drinking
stuff.
Jamba Juice.
Well, there's 1% of it.
Yuichiro Miura. He's
What's
the
that?
oldest guy to climb Everest.
And how old
80.
was he?
How old?
80.
80.
80.
Wow.
All
See,
right,
they-
I'm in the game.
Oh, I
still
thought
got
that you were
5
older.
years.
No. I think this is cool stuff.
Yes, and one of our watchers on Meerkat says, "Okay, I'm going to 1:30 p.m. Everest movie. You really should. You're gonna
you'll
love
like it.
You're going to love it, and then you're going
Yeah.
to want to refer back to this interview. So, don't let age discourage you. You only have to get older. You don't have to grow up. That's
All right,
true.
nicely said. I like this guy.
Yes.
Is it a guy or girl?
I think Yavak is a guy. I don't know. Correct us if we're wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yes, a lot more here on Breakthrough Entertainment. Again, Mountaineer Adrian Ballinger. Check out AdrianBallinger.com or AlpenGlowExpeditions.com or on Twitter, Twitter or Periscope at alpenglow.exp. We either need to be on Periscope so we can check out his skiing expedition,
Let's do
or
that.
we need to get him on Meerkat. So
Okay,
we'll
one
work
or the
on that.
other,
But
or
before
both.
we get to that, we will hear a little bit from Miley Cyrus.
Her?
Miley Cyrus, of course, she's got this song called
Oh.
She's got this song called The Climb.
The Climb?
The Climb, yes. The Climb.
Miley.
And then the
She's-
Ski Down.
Yeah, I bet.
Breakthrough Entertainment's Everest
We used
show.
to call it
So
something
exciting.
else. Yeah, this is Breakthrough Entertainment Live, 1480 AM KPHX in Phoenix, Arizona. We'll be right back.